Boom. And hello, welcome everybody to what is now episode 7. That is a lot more episodes than when we started. I guess that's the way a podcast works though, right? So today's, of course, lovely podcast sponsored and presented by ZenSports as always. Check out their tournaments coming up for Splinterlands. Lots of good things going on. And today we also have 3 amazing returning guests all duking it out for the leaderboard, but I think Jim and Steve are still tied for first with Rogue following up. So thank you guys for being back here once again. Since you've already been on, we'll skip all the introductions. I'll give you guys some time to shout out some stuff at the end. But how about we just go around? Everyone should already know you. If they don't, I don't know what they're doing with their life. So I just want to hear real quick. Give us a highlight of your week. Something fun. Splinterlands or just not related to Splinterlands at all. It could be anything really.
Yeah, you want me to go first?
Anyone can go first.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go first. All right. Guys, I'm Jim Morgan, and today, me and Steve are battle it out, okay? I didn't forget about last week, Steve. All right? And the people in this chat, the people in Dwayne's chat, everywhere, Splinterlands TV, they're ready for a fight. And I'll see you at Splinterfest if you're going.
Oh, that was an exciting thing to look forward to. I hope I can go.
Dude, yeah. That would be the highlight for sure.
I think pay-per-view fight.
Yeah, I think in our chat there's like a suggestion of a wrestle match, arm wrestling,
cage match or something.
Or it was like Hell in a Cell. Like I don't even know. There's a lot of suggestions here.
Oh, Steve's got the steel chair. Oh. He's climbing the ladder.
I don't know. It has to be at least a little bit of highlight that we got to see a roadmap, right? I mean, that was pretty cool to see. I don't know. Other than that, I've like I said, I've won a top 30 in a couple tournaments, and that's all I'm aiming for because I don't want the fame. I just want the payout.
You get fame for being at the top of those champion tournaments?
I in general, I imagine if you check those leaderboards, you'd know most of those players. So maybe.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. I would say my highlight is I have finally gotten into a DEC SPS liquidity pool, and I was able to move all my funds from like the Coinbase and from Binance, like all the stuff that were just kind of sitting there doing nothing. And I was like, we're gonna go for this. And I watched my airdrop like 10x, and I was like, yes! My gosh. Like seriously, as soon as DEC got to that 2 cent, I did the math, and I'm like, goes back to peg. I don't care. Let's go. So yeah, I'm super happy now. I'm getting like 13 SPS a day from the 1.3 that I was, and I'm like, wow, yes.
There you go. Rogue, now a whale. That's the highlight.
Getting there. What's the step up from Krill?
It's maybe anchovy.
I think
minnow is kind of like the middle, but like I feel like there needs to be step in between as well. Anchovy.
I do have one other piece of good news. My taxes were accepted, so it looks like I won't be audited. Hopefully, because that was a mess and a half. And if anyone else is dealing with that, I feel sorry for you.
My goodness, I know. I think we're all moving out of the U.S. Is that the confirmation?
Yeah. By the time I have to withdraw any funds, we'll be well out of here by then. Was that realized gains? Yeah, I'll realize my gains in another country.
Especially you, Jim, because you were saying before the podcast you're on your way to being a Splintillionaire, right? In like 2 days from now, right?
We're getting there.
Especially when SPS hits $50,000 per token.
I'm close to hitting that 100K SPS mark. All right.
I can somebody in the chat should make a meme of like that iCarly thing where it's like she's staring at the computer screen or whatever, and when Luke says, "Hey, Jim should worry about those taxes," and he goes, the IRS is just like, interesting.
Jim has absolutely cornered the market in renting to the bots, right? Because that's his strategy, is to buy tons of single cards. And now those single cards are actually going to be rented out by people, which is going to be pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I bought, I think, about $20 worth of reward legendaries. Strictly just I had the extra credits and I was like, boop boop boop.
I've had bids on Oceanus and all of those things, buying them for the last few weeks because I'm like, man, if
silly.
people are gonna let go of those cards for like $3, sometimes it's just wild.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't gonna stay there forever. There's no way. I mean, it could go all the way down to where my prediction on reward cards is we are absolutely gonna hit the point where the floor is gonna be burning the card versus the DEC price. I believe we are absolutely gonna hit that with reward cards. But then, like from there, like it's just it'll be very steady Eddie. Everyone will get their gains, and then once we're out of print, then or even when the second rewards come out and maybe the distribution cuts out a little bit.
You're starting off with a hot take, Rogan.
Yeah, I disagree a little.
Wow.
But I think the only reason that's not going to happen is because they're redoing the reward structure. And when you're getting whatever number of chests they choose, I don't know if it's going to go up or down in the leagues, but when you see those percentage chances to get much better items when you get to silver, and much better chances when you get to gold, and even better when you get to diamond, and then even better if you're doing champion quests, and you're going to be like, wow, I have like a 0.0 something% chance of getting a legendary, and if you're playing up at the top, you're going to have like a 5% chance of getting a legendary card. It's finally going to be really incentivizing people to move up. And one of the cheapest ways to make your deck stronger is buying the rewards cards, because they tend to be cheaper than the regular cards, and they're powerful too. Especially a few of them that are available now, and with 10 additional ones coming. I have a feeling that once that kicks in, that we're not going to see them dip all the way down there.
Okay. Yeah. See, my concern is literally the same logic. It's just different conclusion. Like, now that they're going to give out more cards, these accounts are going to sell more cards. You know what I mean? That's where my logic is. Like, yeah, people, us, kind of gonna the people will go up for sure. But
you also got DEC going down, right? So really, if you're gonna burn it for the DEC and the DEC falls back to peg, you're talking about a legendary that's now worth 5 cents, right?
No. I'm saying we are going to get to the point where the DEC price and the card, like, it will be like you will either buy the card for 5 DEC or burn it for 5 DEC. You know, that's the floor we're going to be at. I got a feeling reward comments are going to be half a penny, 100%. I think we are going to see that before.
Yeah.
I can only see that if we were under peg on DEC.
Oh, and I think that's where we're going.
You're saying after the airdrop.
Yeah. If that's under peg, then I could agree with you a little bit.
The fact that we've gotten this low, like, what are we at? 1.5 pennies, and we've still got like 100 and some days left in this airdrop. You know, I think people have already bailed on the position. I had your same thought when we were at 2 cents, and to see it fall another like 25% from peg, I'm like, okay, I'm 100% convinced now it's going to peg, 100%. And mathematically speaking, like, the way this kind of stuff goes, like, it'll be a little bit of a sine curve, or like a cosine tangent, whatever you want to say. Like, that's going to go below peg just to balance itself out, I think.
There's going to be some big players like me who I started with 2 million DEC in a liquidity pool, like when this first started, and it ran all the way up to, 10x its normal value. And then some of those people held it all the way back down because they don't necessarily care about the value of the DEC, and they're not going to be that mad to just pull out 2 million when it becomes time. Because, and this is something I brought up with Luke kind of before, never on stream. We have a little bit of speculation that one way they could give some utility to DEC to help it out a little bit in the future is we're going to need some kind of liquidity pairs made for the materials that are going to be on lands. And so let's assume there's 8-9 different materials, and they're going to create, they've already said that it's basically going to be a DeFi world. That's what Matt hid to us in the his grand appearance, and he disappears. You're like, come back, Matt. But he said that land isn't just going to be a game. It's going to be like a DeFi type world. And so each one of those materials is going to have liquidity pools and active trading markets, and you're going to be able to go there. And it makes more sense to me that there'd be a DEC pair than an SPS pair. Because I don't know
totally
that
agree.
you want your governance token tied up inside those kind of things.
No, I totally agree. For me, like, and I'm not even worried about it. You know what I mean? Because like, what lands like end of year, if like beginning of next year, based on the roadmap, or was like end of
phase
Q3.
1 is going to be Q2, I believe they said.
Which is just really
Q3?
just kind of like
Q3.
seeing it on a map, but no, like you can't use it, right?
It would be when we finally get to claim deeds and I think redeem them to find out if you're going to get good lands.
Mm-hmm.
And then in theory, the marketplace will be here for people to start trading those lands. And so we'll start to see like what people actually value a land at, which until you can actually use them, I don't think anybody's going to know their true value. And that's why I'm not selling land anymore, because I don't know what it should be worth. But I know that our land compared to like a lot of other land is very cheap. And I feel like our land is more unique than other land. Like sandbox land doesn't innately pay you because you have it.
Mm-hmm.
All of these lands are going to be producing a resource that basically is going to be pretty wildly valuable when it first comes out, right? Because the best players, the top end players, the ones with the straight gold decks, the giant whales, they're going to want maxed out spell cards as quick as possible and maxed out equipment cards as quick as possible. And so you're going to see a very violent, like material curve where it's going to go up really high until those people have all their cards. And then it's going to come back down to something, more normal.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that 100%. But like the timeline on that is well after the end of it, right?
We definitely have some time. So I want to get your thoughts, Jim, because I saw you talking on stream and I had a similar video. And you're talking about SPS, DEC, and how they're going to follow the same pattern as we go closer and closer to airdrop. So maybe for those that weren't there for your Splinterlands TV stream, although I'm sure everyone was there, right? 100% of Splinterlands players were probably there watching. So what were your thoughts on that, and the price of DEC falling back to peg? Do you see it going back up if SPS goes back up? How do you compare those two?
The big reason as to why like DEC is also dropping, right? When we look at SPS comparison to DEC, right? If we look at the next 110 days of you holding DEC, you actually get about half the value of SPS than you would just buying SPS straight out right now. So if SPS was to go to like 25 cents roughly, right? DEC would actually climb a little bit more, because now it's actually better to now be having that DEC than it is to just straight out be buying SPS over the course of the next 110 days. So even if like DEC goes to 30, 40, 50 cents, right? SPS goes to that price. DEC would then be going to that going up as well, just to keep on par with it. And then obviously over time, like a month, it'll drop like 25%, because I think we're at like 110 days left. So 30 days subtracted from that. And then obviously it's just going to go down and down and down as we continue. But it really depends on what SPS price is.
Yeah. Do you think SPS can run with the last distribution coming to the the VC people? I don't know. Nothing on the roadmap makes me think it's going to run soon.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, they were talking about pre-sale of validator nodes is going to be next month, early next month. Matt is extremely excited about the stuff that's going on with validator nodes. When he comes on the town hall next week or the following week, I'm not sure. That's going to cause also a lot more hype to it. And then that's probably going to be the next thing that does it. But after that, it'll be Rift Watchers, but that's going to be towards the end of the airdrop as well.
Do you think validators will bring outside interest from like non-players who just want to own nodes?
I think so. I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly how many, right? Because we also don't even know how many nodes that they're going to be making.
Oh, it's not going to be limited. They're going the Gala Games model. And
okay. So it'll just scale over time then.
Yeah, anybody can buy one at any time. It's just, the coins would have to be valuable enough for it to make sense, because each one you add takes more away from the rewards pool. Gotcha. And theoretically sliding pricing too. The galas get more expensive, so you could expect these to get more expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think
also with that, the SPS that's going in for these validator nodes, I believe most of it is getting burned. Some of it's going into the what's that pool that they call the
treasure, or the SPS foundation?
Yeah, the foundation. So some of it's going to go in there. Most of it's going to be getting burned. So now all of that stuff is then being taken out of circulation as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think either way, it's pretty hard for DEC to really make a big push, as you guys are saying. It's like, maybe if SPS somehow hits 20 cents soon, then it's worth it, by the math, the numbers to go get DEC, because you're still going to get more than just buying straight up SPS. But that's talking about hitting SPS 20 cents soon, because if it gets, another 2 months and then it hits 20 cents, it's probably still not even worth it at that point to go out and buy DEC. So I don't know. That's where I kind of want to peel the conversation backwards a little bit and just get your guys' thoughts overall in general. What are your guys' strategies now to earn in this game? Because we see DEC inevitably at some point heading back to pig, maybe as Rogue said, even under that. And, it's one thing to be like, oh, I can earn in this game when, DEC's over 1 cent and you're like, oh, I'm earning 20 DEC a game and it's worth, 25 cents, versus now I'm getting 3 DEC in silver and it's worth, half a cent or what. I don't even know the math at the top of my head. But what are you guys thinking? What is your strategies to earn in this game? Because I don't think just saying, I'm going to take my DEC earnings and that's it is going to be worth it anymore, right? So what's your guys' game plans?
Well, I can go first. My strategy has always been SPS. 100%.
Turn it into SPS.
Yeah. You can literally go to tribal decks and just swap it over if you want to go that route. What is it, like 10? It's 10 DEC per SPS, if a little bit less, right?
No, it's more than that, isn't it?
It's 10 cents.
So for 67 DEC, you get 1 SPS.
Okay.
Yeah. So like you can get a couple of SPS a day if you do a straight, but like honestly, I would go for the tournaments. Just like keep grinding out tournaments. That's my strategy right now. And then but then I would say you might even really just look at the cards. Like if you don't want to go DEC to SPS directly, because it's 67, it'll take quite a few wins, maybe 1 or 2 a day. You could instead go into cards, right? And you can get 4 times more cards than you could, like reward commons, than you could that route. And just know that I personally wouldn't play the game right now to try to cash out daily at all. You're playing for compounded gains in the future right now. That would be the mindset that I would take right now. Don't be mad that you brought in a couple cents. Just know that couple cents will be a little bit more than a couple cents in a couple years or in a couple months, whenever. Just keep stacking.
At around December.
And I can tell you, my strategy right now is to use tournaments to get some extra SPS, continue staking the SPS that I have, but I do have a bigger bag than most people, so I get a lot more. I have a bigger collection, so I'm still getting, a lot more for free. But it's my overall strategy is just to accumulate cards while cards are cheap right now. Okay. I still stand by that eventually land will come out, and eventually this set will be the set that should be in play when that land hits. I was going to start mass buying summoner cards, but I've been distracted by the extremely cheap legendaries. So I've been buying those. So I'm up to like 50 Oceanuses, and I'm just going to keep,
because being like 250, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I literally put some bids in for bilge at $2, and people gave them to me. Wow. So I was like, fine, if you're going to give me $2 legendaries, I'll take those before the
literally
summoners.
The golds were like $50.
I would love to put a level 4 legendary summoner on all of my lands to make them produce more. So
right.
But yeah, and that's the mindset I've had with this game, and it's worked well for me since the beginning. I always have been putting money back into cards, or and this is if maybe more speculative play. If you're absolutely positive that DEC is going to go down to peg, then you'd want to be moving your money into like HBDs and just letting them sit in your wallet because they pay you interest now, or you could even stake them. And then if we get down to peg, look for those dips under, and you can buy packs for cheaper than face value, and then packs becomes a little game. And that's what I did back in the day to build up a lot of pack buys, and that's another way to grow your account. But in general, I'd say now is the time to be accumulating cards. You can get like the most amount of cards for new dollars brought in. It's also, if you're a smaller player, the best time to be doing share your battle posts and the other one, the social media one, because even if you get a smaller vote, that's $10 to $15, and at today's prices, that's not bad. My little gold Steve account is about to get his first level 3 summoner, so that account is working its way up, and in a few months it'll have all level 3 summoners, all level 4 summoners if these prices stay the same, and it looks like they're gonna stay relatively cheap for a while, just because the roadmap is not very aggressive. I think that it's cool to see it all laid out, but I think all of us were like a little bit like, land is like way at the end and with 10% done, and I understand why. 2%. Yeah, it was like I understand why, because when you describe what Matt said he wants to do to it, it's not it's not simple, and it's going to be a lot of coding. That's a lot of smart contracts. And it all has to be secured and audited and working, because the last thing you want to do is stake your whatever resource into a pool and have it just disappear on you because it gets exploited. So,
yeah. I mean, I agree. I think when we'll talk about the roadmap more in depth, but when I saw it, I was like, okay, I feel like at least 6 more months minimum where I'm like, I'm going to have, like, it sucks because I'm like, I want these things to come, but also I'm like, well, 6 more months of really cheap prices for me to actually build up. Like, heck, maybe by the end of this year, I could legit at least have a Chaos Legion gold deck close to maxed out. I don't know. It might be too much for me. We'll see. But in some ways, I'm like, that was kind of a bummer. But in some ways, I'm like, well, as you're saying, Steve, these cards still fairly cheap, compared to where they were before, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you, Jim? How are you thinking about earnings and seeing DEC coming back to peg or getting close to it? How are you feeling about your earnings? What's your strategy?
Everyone else hit the nail on the head. It's like, convert the stuff to SPS. If it goes up 10%, be happy about that. If it drops, obviously it's going to happen, right? And then same thing with packs as well, and going into cards, because it's like, all right, well, even if the cards go down 10%, but as of right now, the DEC can potentially be cut in half, you're still better off with holding the card value, because it could drop nearly as much, but most of the time it's probably not. And not to mention, when we do get to that point towards the end of the year, if Chaos Legion sells out, Rift Watcher sells out, there's no more packs that you can straight buy from Splinterlands. You now have to go to secondary market if you want to be buying those packs, which at that point they're going to be more expensive as well. So there's going to be a lot fewer cards getting thrown into the circulation, which will then cause prices to go up. We talk about lands as well. People are going to be needing maxed out cards or high enough cards, so they're now going to be burning like 50, 60, up to 100, up to 400, I think it is, right?
400 commons.
Yeah, 400 commons. So, or 11 legendaries, whatever it is.
Just think it's 85 summoners.
Yeah.
Per land, if you wanted to have a maxed out summoner to put on a land. And obviously that's going to be more.
That's going to take a lot out of circulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, looking back on Splinterlands and when I've gotten into this game was kind of like, Rogue as well. During that bubble of the game, and we saw DEC just insane run, right? And so back then, getting into this game, we were doing all these videos and content of like, well, how do you squeak out as much DEC as you can? What's the rental strategy? Like, what's better? Is it better to have 4 accounts in bronze too? Or is it better to have 2 accounts in Silver 3. You know, it was like all these DEC comparisons. How much can you farm? And why I think there's maybe this negative view on Splinterlands right now is because of that mistake of giving too much value to DEC in the SPS airdrop. And now, as I'm hearing you guys speak, as I've discovered tournaments a bit more based on, you know, what Rogue has been saying and finally jumping into them. Now they got the SPS staked for it this last week.
Dude, I'm seeing you not just jumping in, day 2ing, topping. Like, bro, I see you.
I only tweet out the good ones.
Hey, I see you.
There's some tournaments I didn't even make day 2, but
literally, you and I have a match within 24 hours.
Oh, well, that's going to be streamed live tomorrow.
I already submitted. I already submitted, so you can.
Well, I'll stream it live tomorrow if you guys want to see the grudge
Hey,
match.
if you watch a quick tournament question, do you submit early or do you submit last hour?
Dude, fun fact, I literally just had this epiphany the other day. So pardon me, I'm going to take 2 minutes on this one, all right? So I used to always submit late because I liked to see the tournament. I like to see the matches play out, right? I felt like I would feel whether or not I was in a groove. Negatively, though, like if I took a couple bad losses early, my mindset isn't right for the rest of it, right? I get a little tilted, you know, I'm a little like, and this is one of the things that I've always struggled with online. Online, when I'm not responsible to a person in front of me, I don't keep like my emotions or my face in check. You know what I mean? Like, so like when I'm playing in live tournaments, I actually do a really good job of like maintaining my composure, but like on the computer, no. So like I've actually decided now that I'm there is a live recording of me flipping out on one match. I was playful though, because it was my friend, but I missed the flying magic thing with 5 speed. I missed this thing like 3 or 4 times for should not have. If I'd have hit it once out of any of those, I would have won. F-bombs and everything. But anyway, tournament wise, what I'm finding out is that I can keep a clearer head if I submit all my stuff early. I make sure that I'm in a right headspace, and then I just start submitting lineups, and the last lineup doesn't affect the next lineup. And I think that's really important for me because it shouldn't. Every time I see a new rule set and every time I see a new mana cap, it's a new puzzle. It's a new equation, and that's the way I need to look at it. And so I'm now submitting early and not doing too bad in that case. So
there you go. Rogue, go to Rogue-Patton, or what is it on Peaked? Rogue Patton.
Rogue Patton. Just
Rogue Patton. All the tournament tips there. You want to get number 1.
I did. It is on there. It's one of the videos I posted on 3Speak.
There you go.
You just got to go find it. You got to watch all of them.
Okay. Watch all of them, upvote all of them.
To find the little 5-minute clip where I freak out on my friend.
I do want to get you guys' thoughts, though, going back to the economy side of things, jumping back here. It sounds like you guys are already agreeing, but I think what people are saying in the chat and stuff, too, about DEC dumping, back to that storyline of Splinterlands, I think it was mistakenly DEC's pumping like crazy. So that's everyone is focused on how much DEC I can get. Mm-hmm. I feel like if now at this point you haven't switched your mind, as kind of you guys are saying, to actually SPS is the only thing that really matters. I mean, cards as well, but as far as like earning a token, right, is SPS. The 2 best ways to do that right now, tournaments and then the airdrop. And it feels like you're not earning in the game because the airdrop, right, it's not an active thing. You're just sitting there, you're claiming it every day. So you're like, oh, Splinterlands earnings, because the SPS play to earn isn't going to be out until the airdrop. I feel like actually just playing the ranked mode doesn't feel that rewarding right now. So right now, I barely even play ranked mode. Like I try to get my chest, I play in tournaments, and then I just don't even touch it anymore. Or I'll
That's
go
why
like
bot now.
Yeah, dude. Go get the bot to play it.
What did I literally say? I said that on the last stream. You were like, I was like, dude, I only do rank for quest. Like it's tournaments all the time. And to hear you say that, I'm like, oh,
Rogue's converted me though.
Welcome.
Am I wrong though? Is Rogue wrong? I guess Rogue had the play first. So
I'm playing a little bit more, but I'm playing up in Diamond Champion, so I'm trying to feel out the new teams that are coming out there. Because when we switch over, since I have all of the cards at max level, I actually want to compete for the top leaderboard and the new thing to get those season payouts of DEC, which to this day eluded me. The closest I got was one time I was in them, but I thought I would get kicked out, and I played myself out of them.
Yeah.
So
I would say there's also a very crucial difference for you is like your ranked play is good practice for your tournaments.
Yeah.
That's not the case in silver. I would probably argue not even the case in gold, because the majority of the gold players are doing tournaments in silver. You know what I mean? Like leaderboard gold will compete in tournament gold, right? Leaderboard silver, but there are people that have enough CP and enough leveled up stuff to play in gold, but they're tournament competitive in silver. So like for me, I have enough stuff to play in silver, but I'm tournament competitive in bronze.
Right.
Like that's where I'm at. So like for me, ranked gives me no practice and no training for tournaments at all. It actually probably messes with my brain a lot.
Well,
Counterproductive.
not only that,
Very
because they don't
counterproductive.
have the modern wild format out yet. It's like playing right now in ranked. It's like, cool. Well, I'm just going to go use the Delwyn that Steve gave me because Magic slams. Like, just put in a full Magic team. You can't do that in a tournament because they don't give you the old cards, right? So it's not like, well, there goes my, ranked play of just like spamming the same strategy over and over and over again. Yep. And now, as you said, it almost hurts me in tournaments because I'm like, well, that's what I used to rely on, and now I can't. Yeah. What do I do?
Yeah, you build teams with like stuff that you can't play with in tournaments. You like you're playing with all your cards. You get used to like, there's so many times like if I'm playing a lot of ranked and then I go into a tournament, I go looking for like a reward card to throw into my lineup, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I got to rethink this again.
It's funny. I'm a much better diamond and champion player than I am any of the other leagues. Like
That's
I constantly
a different thing.
I'll make day 2 and diamond and champion all the time, top 30 almost every time, if not just barely out of it. I think I've gotten
but that's because that's where you play ranked though, right?
I go play silver and like in gold, I get slaughtered. I'm like, man, I can't play gold anymore. I get my butt kicked.
No, gold where it really changes. Bronze and silver are like roughly the same. Some cards have better abilities once you get to silver, but then it's like you go to gold and it's a completely different monster. Well, once you're at like gold 1 and like fighting for leaderboards.
Well, I want to get you guys a follow-up to this storyline that I'm painting here as well, okay? So part of me thinks that one of the reasons, earning so well is in tournaments right now, that it feels more and more like this game is if you're competitive, you're going to earn. If not, then you can't just do what we did, 4 months ago and just sloppily play whatever you want in ranked mode, earn 20 DEC that's worth 30 cents, right? So I want to get your guys' opinions. Do you see this shifting in that way where it's like you actually have to get good, you actually have to get competitive to start earning in this game in the future? Or do you think they're going to make things and add things to combat that a little bit? Rogue, you're chomping at the bit. I'll give it to you.
Are you insisting that Splinterlands is going to be a win-to-earn game? Come on.
No. Can't just play. You gotta win.
Yeah, it might be. It should be. Honestly, like I read a fantastic article that said the play-to-earn model is like silly and that it should absolutely be like win-to-earn. You know what I mean? Like anything else would just be... man, what is the words that they used? They put together like a really good article, and they were just they were almost arguing like the play to earn logic is cancerous, and that like it's not good for any ecosystem because it promotes extraction, and not like competition, not games, the way that they're supposed to be.
Can we just call it investment games? Please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I understand what you mean there. When you talk about like play to earn games, the typical mechanic is there's a token in them that are pretty much worthless. And one of the problems with Splinterlands that tricked a whole lot of people is that their worthless token that for a long time would be at like 40% under that peg got, they said, hey, that token's never done anything special, so let's make it awesome for our airdrop. Oops. Boom. And it took off. And you know what? It was really rewarding for players who were here early. People who had like just mounds of dark energy crystals. We made out like bandits. Luckily, a lot of us are gluttons for the game and just put it all into packs and stuff. But that wasn't ever supposed to be the mindset of Splinterlands. You know, it wasn't supposed to be like get rich quick. It was always supposed to be the mindset of a collector. They've always said their game is based after Magic. It's based after like the Pokemon model. They want you to be a collector. They want you to be that guy who takes, you know, your $20 a month and buys 4 packs and continues to open them up. And when you eventually get that gold foil legendary, it's like the coolest thing ever. And you're running around and you're telling all your friends because you got one and yada, yada, yada. It wasn't meant like, hey, come play, suck out $8-10 a day out into the marketplace. We just got a very interesting golden peak where you were able to do that. We have another interesting peak coming up here, though, for anybody that's sad that ended, is you're going to get to earn SPS for playing. And, you know, it's like SPS is just looked at so silly right now because it doesn't do anything, really. I mean, it stakes for more of itself, but that's it. You can liquidity pull it for maybe some rewards. But once you can vote for stuff with it, which unfortunately isn't soon. So it made me not urgently need to go buy SPS because that doesn't seem to be coming that soon. But once you can vote for stuff in it, it's going to be pretty dramatic because there's a lot of like big changes to the game that people talk about sometimes, and they're not going to put any of that stuff forward until you can vote for it. But once the voting governance system is in place, some of those bigger changes are going to get voted on. And, you know, that's going to be interesting. And a lot of the big Splinterlands players are they're Hive whales, too. And that just comes from, you know, that the game was born over there. And so some of the early Steam people who became Hive whales are also Splinterlands whales. And they have a mentality of controlling those kind of things. The fight for the Hive witnesses and the Hive governance stuff, you know, is very... There's some people that have some control over that thing. And so there's going to be some people looking to control this game as well. And that hopefully means SPS goes up, you know, because they're not going to want, you know, someone to cheaply be able to come in and take over the governance of this game.
Yeah, I think there is a reason to buy up SPS though right now, and it is the tournaments because you need a good chunk of stake.
Oh, well,
and
you should, buy enough to stake to play. Absolutely.
And, you know, that's kind of my thinking now is before with a new player, you know, I would do guides on like, hey, rent to silver, you can make a good amount. Now I'm like, actually, if I was telling a friend to get in this game who wanted to say, you know, put it in like your $150, Steve, or $200, I would say probably go buy $100 of SPS to stake that so you actually get in these tournaments and then just go build up a bronze deck in 100. Yeah, you're not going to get great daily rewards, but you're going to be actually able to compete in tournaments, learn how to get good in this game. And there's tournaments where I'm like, well, I just raked, you know, 80 SPS in from this tournament and made away $8. That would have taken me a whole season in gold play to grab that amount, I feel like. Yeah. So that's where I'm saying my mind has shifted to more what you're saying, Steve and Rogue. And Jim, I'm curious for you. Do you kind of agree with that sentiment? Like if you want to earn in this game, you actually have to get good and competitive? Or do you think there is going to be another casual aspect to you can just kind of earn in ranked play and they'll kind of rework that with the new reward system?
So it's a bit different for me because I'm not like trying to actively play a whole lot. So me going to do tournaments is just, I'm not really looking to. So for me, what I would do would just be like owning the cards, renting the cards out to people, and just slowly taking in passive income. I want to make it as passive as possible and then still get to play whenever I do want to play.
Yeah, I think along those lines, that was something else that like when you're looking at cards, like anybody that's going to flip into cards, like I understand that cards, like especially with what I said, like reward cards could go to half a penny. You're looking at the price and you're like, wow, that's like 5 times down. But like rental market has actually been pretty stable, I would say, like, and very predictable now that we've got the auto bids. Like end of season produces just about the same CP bids, mid-season does the same CP bids. You can get very consistent, like if you're flipping into cards, leveling up to the point where they get picked up by the rental bots, you can start to get real consistent in that and compound gains. Then your DEC rentals go into more cards, level up, more DEC, more cards, and it's all more predictable than what like the price market of the cards is going to be, or the price of the DEC or the SPS and blah blah blah. It's a lot more consistent on the rental market.
Yeah, Steve, I don't really play to earn in Splinterlands. I play to play. I earn because I played to play, and I always played to play, and I always put the money back in because I wanted to have more and more and more. And since it's an NFT game and it got popular, it worked out really well for me. If it wouldn't have been a popular game, I would just have a ton of Splinterlands cards and still probably be playing the game. So I guess you got to decide what type of player you are. If you're looking for like earning the most, I don't think Splinterlands is probably the best option. Because there is a need to win to earn the most. There's a need to stake to get into those tournaments. So there's extra investments to do that. And there's also, it's just, to me, it's a hard thing to do because, to be honest, if you're one of those players who's on the lower end and you're trying to make money out of Splinterlands, you're going to make more money posting about Splinterlands and taking play and like really learning how to post. Because occasionally, if you do a really good one of those posts, they'll vote it up to like $60. And I know you only get half of that, but even half of that is $30. I mean, how long would it take for a bronze account to make $30 playing the game?
A while.
So, I wouldn't say that you should play to earn in bronze or anything like, you should, if you need to earn from the game, blog about the game, earn that way, get into Luke's channel, get into my Telegram, share your post, get my vote, hopefully get other people's votes, get Splinterland's vote, and it makes some money over there and just cash out the hive. You'll have to leave like 20 stakes so you can keep posting, but because that's a more that token has been a little bit more consistent. It's easier to make money over there playing at that level. You don't have to play a lot to do a share your battle challenge. You can literally, what's the card? Oh, wait, you don't even have to use the card anymore. You just have to share a battle and uniquely share it. So while they're doing that, I would say that's a better way if you're just looking to earn a little bit of money from the game. If you're going to be here, I hope that you can decide whether you like the game, embrace the game, understand like the thing to do now is to stack SPS or to stack cards. The cards will run out of mint eventually. They will start to get bought up to be staked on land. I definitely see Splinterlands making it at least until one more set gets released. And then from there, we'll have to see if the game took another growth, is able to branch out to more people. We'll have to see. It's not a game for everyone. Not everyone plays Magic. Not everyone plays Pokemon. But can we get enough of those people interested in coming and playing this game? That would be exciting. And can some of the people, who are playing decide, I'll just start investing in my cards. I'll get my cards higher. I'll become a gold player. I'll become, a gold player who sneaks into the diamond at the end of the season. Things like that. Or do you just I don't know. I've never understood the mindset of I'm just going to chill in bronze and play this game because it's not fun in bronze. You have to play a lot of bots. You have to be really perfect to win. And there's no cool abilities. Like the cards do drastically different things in the upper leagues.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's where I'm thinking is too. So, you got, I think it's almost two categories, right? You got the investor, collector, card flipper, maybe put them all in that one kind of bucket of players. Then you got those rogues, maybe me now, of let's go out and be competitive, play those tournaments, and that's where we're going to rake in our earnings. But it sounds like what you're saying, Steve, and it sounds like is anyone disagreeing on this, that more of that casual, I'm just going to rent to Silver 3 to try to farm out some chests in DEC. The days of that are declining, and that's where we're seeing a lot of maybe the community pushback or pain points. Do you guys agree with that narrative?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. I mean, once we find out what the new reward percentages are, it could still be that, but more so of like Rogue was saying earlier, you're not playing for today, you're playing for the future. Those cards you're getting, in Silver 3, not really putting a whole lot of money into it, can then just go further.
Yeah.
But if you're, if you want to just stay in Silver, not so much because of financial reasons, just so that you want to have your cards as close to the BCX ones as possible. So you're not going to be losing a large percent. Then I guess it's also not a bad idea since I do it myself.
But you do that with a plan to sell those cards, right? You're speculating that they'll be worth more.
Yeah.
So I'd remind there that that's a different than just staying in silver. He's staying in silver because he's planning to 100x single cards when they go up from a penny to $1 to $1.50, and certain ones will go up to, if you just look at the old commons, they'll go up to a few dollars. I mean, it's bigger supply, but hopefully bigger player base. And I understand that.
I think Steve, what you've said on previous podcasts though is that the game's intention is always for you to level up your cards. And honestly, until I've been playing in tournaments this last week, I haven't really felt that. And so you're asking why are people just staying in bronze, staying in silver? Well, because it felt like, what's my reward for leveling up my summoners? I'm already in silver, or if heck, you could get level 4 summoners and do well in gold if you have the power to compete. So it's I guess I go level up my monsters so that I can get 2 more wins a day in ranked play and get 5 more DEC. What's the point? Now I'm finally in tournaments. I'm if I actually had this card, I just had this match loss. And if I would have had that one, that would have bumped me up from 10 SPS in this tournament to 25. Now I'm shoot, I'm really motivated to go out and get those level up summoners, get those level up cards. I'm finally, I actually have a reason to do so. Yeah, and I think if you're not playing in tournaments, you don't feel that.
Do you remember that video that you did where you were these are some of the things that you should level up, and you were looking at the cards and you were this one doesn't get an extra attack, it just gets the extra health, right? I had the same mindset where it was that's budget wise, that's not really worth it, right? But now everything's super cheap, and you throw tournament play into it. That extra health might actually be something that you need.
Right. Because so every win matters so much, right?
Yeah,
rank play, it's I lost a match, who cares? I'm going to jump in another match in 2 minutes.
No, and we're absolutely at a point where you need to be playing max for the thing in the tournament that you're playing, right?
Yeah, and that's what Weirdbeard has done to tournaments. He's made them incredibly better. That requiring the SPS stake made it so that there's much less people in them, but all of the people who are playing them are people who are investing, and it has a certain threshold that makes you have to get into it. And to me, the reason why I said I didn't understand why people wanted to hang out down there is because that turns Splinterlands into the same game as a Alien Worlds or a Rising Star. And while those have an appeal, it's you come and you click, you maybe click a little more on Splinterlands, but then you walk away. If you're not trying to level up your cards, if you're not trying to reach that next competitive level of the game, you're putting yourself in a place where, to be honest, you're going to be like Jim and not play in bot.
Don't be like Jim.
Damn, that's the title of the podcast.
He's literally here, and we're still firing.
He said he wanted to fight, right? But you're going to get to a point where you'd rather bot the game because it's not going to be it's not going to be fun anymore, and you're going to rather do something else with your day.
Yeah,
you'd rather play a different game.
You're 100% correct.
So,
yep.
And I got to that point with 2 of my accounts. I bought 2 of them, so you could throw it back at me. But I play my main. But I wasn't going to mess around with my 2 accounts that can only play in gold. I'm I don't want to do that all day. I want to play at the top, and I want to get my butt kicked by the best players in the game. And when I beat them, I want to go, yes, I beat so-and-so, and it's exciting. And then, I get a few more chests, and I tend to pull probably a couple more legendary cards than you do in a season. And that's just the way it is. And it's going to get even more weighted to the top. And honestly, I like games that weight things to the top in the play to earn model, because you need to make people strive to want to get to the top to support the game. Because in general, the way that this will work is we need to have people continue to come in that want these cards and are willing to pay for them. Otherwise, eventually, we're just going to have a bunch of 1-cent cards. And, you have to have a player base that wants to come in. And, the game can do a little bit to do that. They can incentivize it by releasing a new set, doing big tournaments for that set, because that's what they did. I remember we all used to complain because Untamed got all the big tournaments. And you're I want to use my alpha and beta cards, but you keep doing Untamed tournaments. And we were all pissed off about that because we didn't want to have to buy the new cards. That's why Untamed took so long to sell out. And now they're doing the Chaos Legion tournaments, and that's where the big money is. And so they'll do that with the next set, right? The tournaments will be just Rebellion. They'll phase out the older cards, and hopefully they'll all retire to be miners on land. so that there is a use case for them that'll help their value. But there's things they can do, but we do need more players, people who want to play, people who want to push for those. Because one of the things we've never talked about really, because I don't think any of us are competitive in it yet, are the leaderboard prizes. Do any of you take home leaderboards?
Nope.
I used to attempt it, but not anymore.
Yeah,
no.
so I mean,
if you don't have the legendary summoners, it's like, what's the point?
I would
love all these different things.
I would love to talk to somebody that does hit that regularly and understand how many hours they put into the game, because that's what I'm most curious about. Is okay, are you nailing an awesome win percentage and like 20, 30 game win streaks while maintaining that, or are you logging an obnoxious amount of ranked battle games? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull Ue's report next season. Yeah, I'm gonna pull his report next season, and we'll see, because he's always top of the leaderboard in silver, and I'm very curious, like, just how many ranked battles he logs, and what his win percentage is.
Rent actually that last day, and they will play like an insane amount for I don't know how many hours to just try to climb into that leaderboard here in the last moments, which is crazy. But I think from what I've heard from the team, they haven't talked about it in a while, but it wouldn't surprise me if they rework those leaderboard systems anyways, because that's what they've hinted at from time to time. They haven't said anything recently.
They've said they want to take some of the rewards away from those because they're not working well, because they're basically too dominated by the same people. So they've said this in a couple AMAs, but they haven't officially said it. But I think that was one of the ways they were going to put more rewards into the season, like the chess. So if they lowered those by a little bit, like maybe, I don't know, took 25% of the DEC out of each one, and then more DEC could go into the chess.
Yeah, that was funny, because we were talking like in the YGG, and we were talking about like esports and specifically and what that's going to look like. And I was very adamant that leaderboards should probably have nothing to do with esports, because I don't view leaderboard as the same skill as tournaments. Taking down tournaments, I think, is way different than leaderboards, and I think to consistently top tournaments is different than consistently topping a leaderboard. And I think so. Like, it's kind of weird. I almost wish the leaderboard didn't exist, but I understand why it's there.
Yeah, I think there's going to be changes. I don't know when, but this year they're either going to rework it or change the rewards, as you say, Steve. So that's where I'm like, I don't really feel like it's worth the effort to put into, especially if you need so many. I mean, with the wild format right now, even when they go to Untamed, it's like, I don't have any Yodins, I don't have any Llamas. I'm not going to go spend $10,000 on these legendary summoners, even at a silver level, to go get ranked rewards.
They're not $10,000 anymore.
Yeah.
Well, if you want all the legendary summoners of Untamed to a silver level, that you're still talking thousands of dollars.
How to get them all?
But you don't need all of them. You need Llama, Yodin, and Kitty.
Okay.
Those are the only three you would need.
I only need $2,000 to go win 10,000 DECs.
What are you doing with your money, Luke?
They're like 900 to 1,500 each one, so like $4,500 at most.
Yeah, that's nowhere near $10,000. Come on, Luke.
Yeah.
Being dramatic.
All right. Well, shut up. That's all I gotta say. That's my response.
You're really mean.
Oh yeah, well you're out of the interview. Good.
Oh man, it seems like Rogue's having computer problems here. I don't know what's going on here.
All right. You know what? We're gonna move on. We're just gonna let's move on, Steve. I'm with you. We clickbaited this YouTube title or the podcast here.
Yeah, what was it?
Roadmaps here. Bullish, bearish. How are you guys feeling? What was your initial reactions? Is this like, man, I see this, I'm like, yes, I'm excited. You see this, you're like, oh my gosh, that's taking forever. I'm dreading this. Feelings, go.
I was neutral.
Yeah, in the middle.
I like it as an idea. And just like, because there's so many times every single week people ask the same questions. Where are we at with X thing? Where are we at with this other thing? Where is this? Where is this? It's like, okay, just every single month this is where we're at, and everyone knows we'll be having this at some point, right?
So you're bullish that the town hall questions get better from here.
Yeah, I hope it gets better, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I would say that it's nice to see the team finally do this. It's nice to see Aggroed and Matt get organized enough, and we know that the organization behind them has been growing. They're getting organized. They're making roadmaps now. They're going to hopefully try to hit, the real question here, the first time they put this out is, are they going to hit any of these dates? And it was kind of sad that I felt like they were a little washy on that. Even when they put it out, they were like, some of this could slip, and you're like, and that's the one thing I think, that when they hired all these people, eventually we do have to kind of push back on them, that you got to start hitting dates. Like, I don't know how many devs they have, what the big holdup is on some of the things, but you do want to see them, because we're already late, in my opinion. If you look at the white paper, we're late on a whole bunch of things not being here.
Especially land.
Yeah. Land's very late.
Well, that shocked me, because I mean, they talk about all these things at once, and then you're like, okay, well, maybe, they say land like Q3, but now you're looking at this roadmap, it's like, okay, well, that's like just opening the land before it's even usable. We're talking about a year out. And, I remember Steve talking about, you max summoners for the land coming out. And it's like, well, by the time we actually need max summoners, we'll already be on the next set of cards. There'll be more summoners out by then, Steve. I don't know.
Do you think the next set will actually be out by the beginning of next year? I don't think so.
I mean, they've said
it's probably going to be around the same release as what this last one was. So I could see it.
Yeah, and that's what I think in the last town hall, in the last couple town halls, they actually almost made it sound like Rift Watchers was going to be closer to the 1 year anniversary of Chaos. But then...
Yeah, that's what I took too.
Yeah, but then the roadmap came out and it showed a whole different timeline. It put us back to like end of Q2, beginning of Q3 for Rift Watchers, and the 1 year being about when Rebellion's going to come.
They said a few weeks ago that it was going to be around the end of the airdrop. So the end of Q3.
Yeah, that's why I can't remember exactly which one it was that gave me that feeling. But yeah, no, it's personally, I
don't think they would do that unless the market was healthier. And I think they've hinted that in the AMAs that there could be some time off in between the next big set coming out in this set.
Specifically saying they don't want to be like Magic.
Yeah, that they don't want to, they're not like, there's not going to be packs left for sale and them drop another set, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I do, but this does mean that everything I've talked about with you have more time than I thought. Now, I admit when Matt came out, it made me more bullish on the overall project, and that just means I have more time to collect, in my opinion, because I do think that the way he's talked about things that are going to be there, they're not what I thought they were going to be. They're way more intricate. They're way better. And you could have people come into Splinterlands now to do things that have nothing to do with playing the game. You could have people just coming in to be people who play the DeFi market of the different land-produced materials and want to corner. Like, if one of the best spells needs life resources, you could see, speculators coming in and buying up all of that life resource just to stop you from, to control the market on it and make that card extremely expensive. There's going to be a whole ecosystem of it's like land is going to be such a big thing, the way they've described it now. That I understand why it's going to take so long, but it is frustrating to think that you're not actually going to be doing any of that until next year. It does make me wonder what's going to bring additional players into the game right now. Luke, you got to stream more.
I'm trying. Well, and one of the reasons they said, hey, we're kind of pushing back these things, at least what I picked up was, hey, we need to make sure these things are ready for another big growth of players in case it happens. Right now we can handle millions of transactions, barely, but let's make sure we're not back to where we were 6 months ago where everything was a dumpster fire and it was like the whole game was maintenance mode, I don't know, 20% of the time it felt like.
Rough.
So, I mean, that was the reasoning. I don't know. Is that a good reason in your guys' mind? Are you guys okay with that explanation?
A little bit. You don't want it to break again. Also, I don't mind when Rift Watchers drops because it is a mini set. It's not going to be a full set of cards. So
3 million packs.
And when what do you call it? When when Dice came out, they weren't really popular because they force you to pay in. Is it going to be SPS for this?
Yeah, this one's going to be SPS.
Yeah,
and
so
vouchers,
it's like
probably
it's like a hesitation to buy. Like you don't want to give your SPS, and so they did the thing that made nobody want to buy Dice at the time was they set it at like a certain amount of DEC, and DEC, and DEC was under peg, so you were like, I don't want to spend 3,500 DEC on a Dice pack because I can you could like play games to get the regular packs at the time. So it took forever for Dice to sell out. Even with Mylor and Lorena being pretty good cards, still that set was around for a long time.
I was gonna say, when I started, Dice was still a thing, and that was mid-August.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to buy them because they were more expensive.
Yeah, for me, the roadmap I think was just disappointing is not the right word. Overhyped, I would say. Like I was expecting, more details or something, but really, what they showed, in my opinion, was just something of like a company management organizer, but just with graphics that are nice to share with the public. You know what I mean? So like, and it was funny because Crypto talked about like all of his stuff he does with Monday.com, right? And it's like, that was literally what I thought the roadmap was. It was just like a graphically appealing Monday.com for like their internal stuff with no set dates, it's just a placeholder, I would say. Just something you can put in the background of like, oh, put a check on this, up this 10%, and
What would you like to see out of it though? Like if you had a preference, they would change it for you.
There's actually nothing that I would want to see on that roadmap because I personally don't want to see anything more out of them. I think they have taken on a lot, and they're still ramping up the company. And honestly, I'm not in the position that everybody else is in. I didn't buy into this land expecting it to be tomorrow or something. Like, I'm not a landowner. So in my opinion, I'm totally patient on this, right? I'm also not ready to jump into Rift Watchers because I don't have enough vouchers yet. I don't care about the next set because I haven't fully gotten my position of chaos. Like, so literally I'm not pressing the company for much of anything. I want for them to do it right, and I want for them to like get it done, but I would hate to push for them to like give a date and then like give a solid date and not hit it. That's when you start to like really lose faith in what the company can do, is when they start putting hard deadlines and like not doing it. Like here's one big thing. Have we seen anybody get fired yet? Like
has people
not
leave.
That they've announced.
No, I know, but like we have seen like big characters leave. Like I haven't been around for it, right? All I've seen is people being added to the team, right?
There's a couple.
They mentioned they lost the dev during one of the last AMAs, but to be honest, most of the devs are in the background. We haven't seen any of the people that we see up front get fired. But to be honest, they didn't have a team until recently. It was literally like Matt and like one or other guy doing like everything in the background, and that's why it wasn't ready for prime time when all of a sudden the game blew up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You get to a point where you're like, if you want the hard dates, then you also want for Aggie to put on like his big boss hat and start firing people. If that doesn't happen, you know what I mean? You want like these things to happen. And I'm just way more casual than that. Like this is fine. They're doing great. They're moving at a pace. They're not over promising and under delivering. I don't think there hasn't been a single thing yet that they've come out with where they're just like, yeah, it was going to be this, and then it ended up kind of being like something small. Maybe Waka was maybe a little
well,
but like
I'd say they've done like a little things that kind of seem like non-consequential to the game, and then to see land push so far back, that's what made me a little bit disappointed. Like if I'm not getting land till next year, I don't want a Yoden plushie. Stop it. Don't make plushies. I don't want a tabletop game. I don't see any of you in real life.
Okay.
Who the hell am I going to play Splinterlands with? But Jim wants one.
Come over to Jim's house.
But
no, that makes sense.
Follow us on Hobbies and
makes
Happiness and YouTube. We do all board gaming content.
But my point is like they're adding on a lot of like these little things. They're talking about doing animation series. They're talking about they're actually putting out content that's like short stories. So they've hired like narrative teams,
comics,
and it's like, dude, if you don't have like 12 devs building all this stuff in Matt's mind, but you have like 20 creators drawing pictures, I get a little bit like maybe shift that around a little bit and
I
have
like this
10
take.
guys drawing pictures and 5 more devs banging out code. Because
drawing pictures, is that their title? Just they're picture drawers.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know the art's gotten really
Nate's
good.
gonna watch this and he's gonna be like, Steve hates me.
It's all right.
Steve hates me.
The creative guys never talk to me anyways. So
I think the tough thing, the feeling I had was, in the AMAs, kind of as you said before, Steve, and I think you said, Jim, like everyone asks all the time, like, when is this going to be done? When is this going to be done? And because there was nothing actually visual to see, it kind of felt like, oh, there's all these things going on. And it feels like, I don't know when they're coming out, but for whatever reason, I feel like, oh, it's just like maybe 2, 3, 4 months. It feels pretty close by the way they're talking about it, even though they're not giving any dates. Maybe that's just a wrong perception I had or a misfeeling on my part. But then to see it like so spread out on the roadmap, you're like, oh man, this feels like some of these things feel a lot farther out than I originally thought. So I don't know,
Yeah.
Jim, do you feel that same way?
Well, one thing I wanted to bring up with Steve talking about maybe you guys have too many artists or whatever it is, right? You guys are just sitting around drawing pictures. I mean, like this whole game is artwork, right? You think about we looked at during the town hall that one guy showed like 5 different iterations of that one
cool.
character.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's Steve's just like, I don't care what color it is. Where's my lands?
Well,
you
some of
wasted
us-
10 minutes
some of us
coloring this
minted
thing.
land, and it wasn't like we're saying, hey, I want this tomorrow. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I don't care if the vampire monk is red or black or yellow. Where is my land?
So when we talk about like other card games, and it's a little bit different here because they don't actually have to produce a physical card, right? But when we're talking about Magic the Gathering, it takes them about a year to get something started and then for it to be out on the shelves.
It's longer
for
than
people.
that. Aren't they on like a 2-year cycle?
I'm not entirely
making-
sure, but the only reason I'm saying a year is because when they talked about the challenger decks that they made for standard, they're like, it takes about a year. So it could be a little bit more, most likely not less. So it does take a while. And not to mention, there's a lot of artwork that just gets tossed outside. It's just tossed into the trash. And it's like, all right, well, they spent however much time on that, which say they did like 5 different iterations on a character. Well, now they have to do revisions to now those characters, depending on what Nate wants and whoever else they now have to put it into. And how many characters was it for Chaos Legion? 91 cards or something?
I think so. Roughly around that.
So then we can also look at, well, if there was like a 33% approval rating, if it was, we are now looking at like close to 300 different artworks, and then however many revisions on top of that. So, I mean, I understand what you're talking about of like, you could cut back on the artist, except like they kind of can't because it's a lot of art.
Well, and it's gotten a lot better, right? Like I started, I started downloading some of the lore tab pages for that picture of the most overpowered monsters. And I'm sorry to the original artist, but I literally laughed out loud for Almo Cambio. Like when it's in the card version of the game, it doesn't look that bad, but when you pull it out,
his like just sticking out.
The ghost looking form of it is not. I don't want to slam it to you, but just go look at it yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, and my comment wasn't meant to be like, hey, just go fire all those guys. But there should be more investment on the building side. It looks like, because a lot of that stuff, I mean, it's a long way out. And then if you just kind of assume that there's add 3 months to this, then you're looking at Q2 of next year is the first time land is playable, and ouch.
I do think you're right though, of like putting more emphasis on the making the game better itself sooner than wanting to like put 25% game developers, 25% art art designers, 25% whatever else, right? Adjusting the percentage ratios without like removing people, but just adding more to it.
And the main reason why I have this feeling is because land is needed for a set as big as Chaos. Without land to suck up a lot of that card volume, the Chaos was just too big. At least for the current player base. Now, maybe eventually in the future, the game gets big enough when we get enough players, but I think new player acquisition has been dropping off. We have a chance, a short-term bullish take is that validators are cooler than we expect. I still don't know how that happens, though, because to me, they kind of said, like, well, originally, if you buy this, you're going to be overpaying. At least that's the way it sounded to me. They're like, this is going to be priced at like some ungodly amount of SPS or something. And, so it's like, do I even want to buy it in the beginning? I don't know. I want one, but at the same time, that worries me. But, maybe Matt comes out, maybe it's cooler than I think. And maybe it'll attract some people to the system. But the big thing that could change things is the change to the reward system. We don't know the details on that. We don't know how cool it's going to be. We don't know what those chests are going to be changed. Yeah, that's that and validators are the two things coming next, and that's supposed to be next month. So we'll see if that hits and it's awesome. Then this roadmap's fine. If that new reward setup is hot, we start seeing the numbers tick up. You start seeing card values go back up, packs being bought. Then it's cool. But we're hitting a lull, and I have no incentive to invest anymore in this game at this point. I have 2,000 packs. I have 200 lands. I have a complete 100% maxed Chaos deck. I have 100% just about maxed out Untamed set, except for like 2 commons. I'm not going for alpha or beta. It's not, I'm not Dwayne. I'm not buying $2,000 cards over there, for a couple. So I'm at the point now to where if Splinterlands doesn't come out with land, I'm maybe going to start taking money out of the game. When I, not because I necessarily want to, but it's just going to kind of be like, well, listen, I don't have anything else to buy here. So I have a couple other play to earn games, right? So I'm like, I'm going to take $20 over there and buy a couple of those things, because there's nothing left for me to buy here. I could keep buying, speculating, and I'll keep doing that a little bit, but it's not going to be like major investments into this game anymore.
Well, and that's where I have the mixed feelings. It's like, okay, I'm kind of feeling like we're going to be in a continual lull, maybe not bearish in the sense of like everything's going to drop to nothing, but in just the sense of like, like kind of what you're saying, Steve, like what is the motivation? It feels like a lot of it is going to be maybe that sideways movement, or as supplies actually opened up, maybe even sideways a little bit down. And so part of me is bummed about that, but part of me also is like, well, maybe it is my chance to be like Steve one day, right?
100%. Like our motivation is different. Like you and I have like totally different. Like Steve's in a very unique spot where he owns everything, right? And that's literally what I'm striving for. I want to be in a position in this game where I own enough assets that at every card launch, I can max out the set quickly. Like, because that was what I did in the physical trading card world. I wanted every card available. And so I want to be at that point. I almost envy him that he's just like, oh, I got nothing to spend money on. I'm just like, that's literally where I want to be. Like, it's just, I own everything. And like, that's perfect. Like, you do all the big tournaments. You're at the point where like your name and face could be everywhere, Steve.
I don't know if that's his goal, but
But yeah, literally for us though, Luke, like we're in a position where we can actually financially, logically start climbing. Like it's not silly for us anymore. Like back when we started, it was silly.
Right.
It was silly to try to make a position in this game.
And if the modern format is always the previous 2 years, right? That's what I'm thinking in these tournaments. Is like, okay, even Untamed is still pretty out of my reach. Like to go if a tournament has Chaos and Untamed, I'm like, well, maybe I can rent a card here or there that's really important. But for the most part, I'm out. Like I just can't put in the thousands of dollars it needs to even get the bronze, maybe silver level Untamed cards. But if over this year I'm grinding out with these rewards that don't seem incredible, maybe I'll have, as I said, maxed silver level deck by the end of the year, maybe even gold. And then next year, the Rebellion set, I'll have a lot better chance to match that. So now actually I do have 2 competitive decks going into these tournaments all these play for the Modern League. So that's kind of where I'm like, that's kind of good in a sense for me if you're looking to grind out these long-term things. But I can see why a lot of people are frustrated or maybe walking away from the game. And I don't know, Jim, where are you at? Because you're in that like middle zone between me and Rogue and Steve, right? Like you're looking at an investment point. Is this scary to you, or you're like, oh, all my investments are screwed, or are you just not worried about it at all?
Honestly, yeah. Like since I'm really in it for long term, I'm not really worried about it at all. Kind of just taking it as it comes, right? Yeah. I'm a pretty patient person as well, and it's not like I'm in dire need of this to go to the moon right now.
What are you talking about?
It's got a moon now. Win moon.
SPS to 50,000. Let's go.
Let's go.
50,000.
50K SPS.
I still can't believe 40% of people said that was going to happen. I don't know who you have following me.
I really hope that they knew that was a joke.
There's
like a little sarcasm.
Yeah.
No, but for me,
it's to have $4 billion.
Wouldn't we all?
I actually currently don't feel like we're in a lull too much at all. Like, because I know like what wasn't on the roadmap is literally at any minute, like this other promo's coming out. You know what I mean? That's huge, right? Every million packs sold, we get a new, like we are literally like almost like the next legendary is when we're starting to get into the summoners. That's huge. Like these are increments that like are in my opinion healthy, right? We don't need for like Splinterlands to really do too much, because literally it's just like we're gonna get a new legendary summoner. Like that's some of the most exciting stuff, that because like the majority of us came in, we already saw all the legendary summoners that they did once, and we were just like, woof. And now we're going to be a part of this process. Now we're going to be a part of what this, finding the price and all this stuff, all the promos that come out, anything like this is fine, and then plus with, everything that Weirdbeard's talking about with tournaments, I think are exciting, because like I am extremely jealous that the top tournaments that get like all the attention and all the prizing are like Diamond and Champion. Like Steve, love you, buddy. You've put in a lot of money in the game. You deserve it. But I would love to actually compete in a grand stage tournament. I would love for there to be some kind of like quarterly GP where it's like your top 36 players from those SPS tournaments for a quarter are invited to this tournament, and have it run not like a single elimination. I do not want a single elimination tournament. I want Swiss pairings with a day 2. Like I want a real tournament, So I think there's stuff, huh?
Yeah, we could pretty much have an LCS for Splinterlands.
That kind of stuff would be exciting, but like I feel like that we have hit a lull in outside excitement. I know most of the channel views are down. Most interactions on Twitter are down. Most, we only have, I love the 50 people watching, but it used to be a couple hundred people, and it's dwindled. And so with,
Thanks, Obama.
Where'd that come from? But
his go-to.
But the general feeling is, like if the game doesn't have that exciting way for people to make a decent amount of money for nothing, which isn't really realistic for a game to last well, they shift to the next game where they think they can make a lot of money for nothing. So,
but why does that have to be? Why is this game because it's paired with crypto? Why is any game because it's paired with crypto can't be exciting for the game aspect? You know what I mean? That's the most frustrating part for me, is like Magic doesn't get its attention because people are millionaires by playing Magic. It's because the game is exciting and top level play is crazy, because like the littlest difference is between a win and a loss. Like you have to be on top of your like stuff, you know what I mean? And that same stuff exists in this game 100%. But I'm almost frustrated because I feel like there's more investors than players in this game. And so they've created an ethos around this that is all finance based. Like very rarely, there is not a lot of content creators. I would say not even like a real big content creator is very specific to the gameplay aspect, optimizing rule sets and like nailing tournament play or doing tournament reports and breaking down matches. Like,
yeah,
there is no game focus. So like we're all waiting for the second.
That's the problem.
Like, do what?
You can't do that though. Is the problem? It's like if you want to survive as a content creator right now, it's. And I agree with you. This is a problem. It's like, well, all the video views are going to this token's gonna 1000x. You know, this game, get in now while you can. You know, you're gonna make it into and be a millionaire. And that's what every time I've reviewed a new game, that's 9 out of 10 times. That's my biggest problem, is all the language around DeFi, finance, that they're not bringing in new players. They're just bringing in other players that already know about play to earn games, and they're just jumping, as what Steve said, to whatever's hottest. And I don't know.
Yeah,
we haven't seen many projects build the bridge.
I haven't figured out how to get enough of the world that plays Pokemon and collects $1 million cards to want to play Splinterlands. You know, there's not enough of them that are doing it, because if there were a big following of those type of people who play those type of things, then you're right. We would have a more competitive atmosphere. The whole game would be better. People would be buying these cards to level them up. It would be no question. That's what they'd be trying to do. It's just we don't have players with those mindset, and I can't explain to you why we don't. I was someone who used to play Magic. I was someone that used to play Versus. I had that competitive streak. That's why I gravitated into Splinterlands, why I wanted to have the best cards, why I've been frustrated forever that I'm missing just a few of them. And when I lose to those cards, it drives me crazy. But there's clearly not enough of me, because if there were, there would be a lot more stuff would be way more expensive. Chaos would not be cheap. Everything would be selling out. But on the flip side, everything's going down. Everything's getting cheaper. Pack sales are slowing down. Views are slowing down. And, you know, I make content about Splinterlands. Projects made me probably the most money out of anything, and I get a few hundred views. I make one about a coin that went to nothing, and it got 1,500 views. I mean, it's the mindset of a lot of crypto people's get rich quick. Nobody wants to come here and you know, be like, hey, put in $500 and grind free rewards cards for what looks like it's going to be a year and a half, and then land's going to come out and those cards are going to go up 100x. That might be true, but that's not a hot take. So if you can't come and play and have fun in the game, I can't really say come play Splinterlands, because otherwise it's gonna, I don't know, you're just going to suck money out and you're not going to have a good time.
Well, it's funny because when I was doing content for Force of Will, the whole market was gameplay. The whole content was gameplay. I had a niche where my videos were finance specific. The niche was finance, and it's the opposite in the crypto world. Opposite. Everyone's like, yeah, this is a game, but let's talk money like all the time, and like less about the game, like the physical game, you know, and it drives me nuts.
What does the crowd think? Do they want, you know, would you watch a video if I said I was just going to break down my champion tournament matches or my diamond tournament matches? Or
I mean, I can tell you right now that
if that content was out there, I would start because I'm gonna be dead serious. Every time I look on a video and they're like doing matches and they're like casually talking about something else while I'm watching these like
that drives me
legendary
crazy
stuff. Like the max legendary stuff, everything's got like 7 abilities. I don't know what's going on or why they ordered it in this way, or like what was the specific reasons that they were like doing any of this for. And I'm just like, wow, okay, so we're just like, I don't know, we're showing off money.
I mean, that's again, that's the problem though. It's like I've done both, and I can tell you, I make a video on, hey, here's how to use the double demoralize strategy. It's gonna get a couple hundred views, but you put in the hey, should you be buying SPS or DEC right now, which is better? You're gonna get a lot more views, and that's just the reality right now. I don't like it. I agree with you.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I almost wonder like what is going to be the thing that we need to get the players.
Like, well, I want to get your guys' take on what Mom said in the chat. Just talking about we need more marketing. Is it just coming down to marketing problem? Is that why we're not seeing people that actually like card games and are getting in it for the fun and the gaming aspect?
The one thing I've noticed, and because I watch, do you guys know who Kira TV is?
Sounds familiar.
He used to make MMO content, and now he pretty much covers NFT scams, right? And so many people are just against NFTs right now because they pretty much think they're all scams, even though that's not the case. Even Gary V talks about how 99% of NFTs are just going to be complete garbage. Like, you just don't know which ones are going to be the real thing. So then, like, you just have to really invest into people and the company more so than I have this one artwork, I hope it goes up in price, right? And so the one thing Kira TV has talked about, and Asmongold, who is a huge World of Warcraft streamer, gamers don't really care about like the NFT or the blockchain stuff, is because they're not looking to put money in and get like money back. They just want to have a good game. And it's like, it's a terrible thing to say, but like nearly every single NFT game out right now visually does not compete with like
100%.
World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, whatever MMOs, whatever
100%.
shooters you want to talk about, right?
Yeah.
We go back and look at like in 2005, I had like science club in school. We were all playing Adventure Quest online. We were all playing RuneScape on the browser. It was complete garbage. And that's essentially where we're at right now.
Yeah.
They want good games. And like, sure, we love this game. And but it's like when you're taking someone from a completely different game, kids who love Fortnite, people who love MMOs, and it's like, oh, come play this idle game where there's definitely strategy, but for someone who also plays Magic, it's like, oh, well, what is my starting cards? It's like, well, now I want to instant speed this to kill your creature, you know. I now want to draw more cards. It's a completely different game.
Oh, totally different.
I don't think marketing's a problem at this time.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this game needs to be marketed right now, because I think if you got like just a random-ish gamer to the Splinterlands site, they're leaving. It's not ready for them. You need to be introduced to this game. At this point, like you got to be marketing this out to like people who are looking to make a little money playing a game, are looking to get into NFT ownership, who are looking to learn about NFT ownership. I mean, because I would say like my little Gold Steve account and your little account, they're good examples of ways that people could come into this, invest a small amount of money, learn how to blog on Hive, learn how to play this game, learn how to own NFTs. That account started with $150. It's worth $230, so it didn't go up. It didn't go down. It went up, even with the card market tanking since I started that account. I've still just been able to do those high posts, build up that money, go ahead and increase it. But that's not a get rich quick scheme. I didn't 12x my money, and that's how people have to be brought into the game, and no marketing is going to do that. Players like us are going to have to tell those stories, show people those things. It's going to have to appeal to the right players. Now, when land is all the way out there, and there's a DeFi platform that they can advertise that you literally is just going to be advertised as a DeFi platform. Come over here and play DeFi in the world of Splinterlands, own lands that create materials, yada yada yada. You can go, you can put that out there. And if we are going to have some major tournaments, and I'm not talking about like, $5,000 tournaments, I'm talking $25,000, $50,000 tournaments that are legit. Like he's talking about, like because like when I was a Magic player, that's always what you wanted to do, right? You wanted to qualify to go to like
10Ks.
Go to the 10K events, and in those games, like Splinterlands, it appeals to people who play those games, but only if they understand it. And the site doesn't explain it properly, and it starts off boring, too. Like if you're used to playing one of those like in-depth, especially Magic, because you got to think to play that game, and then you come here and you see like level 1 summoners with those level 1 monsters that have like no abilities, you're gonna be like, this game looks kind of boring. And if you don't go any further than that, you don't even know they come as maxed out cards that have like 4 more abilities, and that there's 13 or how many rule sets are there? 30?
A lot.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
I think that's where the ghost card tournaments come in too, that Weird Beard's been talking about. That can really help some of that.
But there's nothing like, what would you market right now?
Honestly, Splinterlands TV. Splinterlands TV is going to do everything that you're talking about.
But that's got to get dialed in more. I watch it about a decent amount. The level of quality is amazing. Come on, dude, I can't see anything going on. And I'm not going to call anybody out in particular, but it makes sense to me to fix that.
It's me. It's all me, Steve. Throw me under the bus.
Luke, you're by far one of the best streamers.
My stream cut out 3 different times last week. It ruined the whole thing.
I'm quite annoyed that you're not more famous, because the reason I come here is I keep expecting you to make me famous.
Well, I mean, what you're saying though,
exactly.
What you're saying,
come on, Luke.
Saying about the marketing though, it reminds me a lot about Aggroed, and I don't remember how many Town Hall this was ago, but he's talking about, hey, one of our main visions and goals with this game is actually get people into blockchain, to DeFi, getting into the world of NFTs. And he made a comment, I don't know if he would still say this, but he said, this current card game isn't it. Like, we need to do more than this eventually. And I think maybe that's part of it. It's just the blockchain space in general, as you're saying, these games aren't good, Jim. Like, these are PlayStation 1 games at best for some of them, right? And so maybe this whole ecosystem just needs some patience and needs some time to grow. Like, until there is that World of Warcraft, or till there is that Fortnite, or whatever it is that's actually like proving to the entire world that, hey, NFTs aren't a scam. They aren't destroying the ecosystem, or sorry, the world's green initiatives, all those things. Until these other games that maybe are going to draw in a bigger audience, then those other players from those card games can see something like Splinterlands and recognize, okay, I already know about NFTs, I already know about blockchain, but maybe Splinterlands isn't the thing that can really just market to the whole world about NFTs. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that, or do you see it differently?
Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Splinterlands should just make an ad like Raid Shadow Legend.
Dude, your voice is perfect for that.
Everywhere.
Tell Splinterlands to hire you.
I want to see the ad where like they put the dude up here and the 3 gold things and the water and the lava and the treasure and mess it up. I want to see that on like every one of these. You guys want to get so many clicks.
Oh, it went into the lava.
Yeah.
You should have played.
Yeah.
But see, that's where I'm like, are we frustrated at Splinterlands?
Like the worst team ever on the screen.
Just like beat this lineup.
What I'm saying though is like, are we actually frustrated at Splinterlands for something that's not a Splinterlands problem, and it's just blockchain gaming in general?
I'm not frustrated with Splinterlands.
I think NFT gaming and the idea that you're gonna pitch NFT gaming to gamers is not a great strategy, because
you need something very aesthetically like.
Well, because gamers are playing games, right? So your game would have to be more like a game. The closest one that I can pitch to a gamer is Blankos. It's the only one, and even that is borderline play to earn, because you don't really earn in a substantial way, and it's all KYC'd up and stuff, so it's a fun game. But to me, to get you into Splinterlands, I mean, I don't know. It's like we don't have the compelling stories yet to do it, or at least not being told by the people that could. Because, you know, there's some people who are multimillionaires because of Splinterlands, but they're not out there. They're not telling that story for us. I can tell you that I've made a few $100,000, but I don't think that is that convincing to people to do what I did.
It got me, Steve. It got me. All right, buddy.
Well, that's part of the hard thing, though, too, is if you say, hey, look at these stories of, you know, millionaires or whatever, and they come into the game, and, you know, I've heard many comments like, oh, I invested back in the bubble of September $7,000 and now I'm down to 2K. And it's like, if your promise is money and then all you see your account shrink, you're gonna panic and you're out, right? So I don't know, it's hard to say that that's the only thing.
Dollar cost average.
Yeah, that's the other problem with pitching NFT games to gamers is how expensive they are. In reality.
Yeah, I will say that, but then I there are definitely ways that we could, like, I could tell any gamer that, like, dude, like, you will like, there's no such thing as bulk commons in this. Like, there's no such thing as bulk. It's all valuable, every single one. And they'll be like, what? It's like, I don't know. There are ways, but I absolutely think there has to be something aesthetically appealing in order for that to happen. Because
I'm looking at my bulk collection right now.
Right? It's all this bulk behind me.
I got like probably 20,000 cards right there, all bulk.
Yeah, if each one was a Pellicore mercenary,
right? Sign me up.
You hear that? Jim will mail you a card for a Pellicore mercenary.
Mail it.
Man, the stamps.
Okay. You got to send like 10 or 12.
You just got to pay shipping and handle.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting question for you guys.
Ooh.
Did any of you guys get into Splinterlands first as like your first NFT blockchain game, or was it something else? And kind of as you said, you saw a content creator, something else that also mentioned Splinterlands? Because that was me, right? I was into other games first, Alien World, Blankos, Gods Unchained, and it wasn't until I watched a Crypto Stash video that I finally landed in Splinterlands.
Yeah, no, it was the same for me. I was playing League of Kingdoms, and found SteveR here.
I was not. This probably was my first NFT game. When I think about it,
say, wasn't this like the first NFT game?
I mean, because I didn't realize I started literally a month after the game came out.
Holy cow!
Because they said they launched in May, and I looked at my account. I started in June, and I was one of the first players. And like when I joined the Discord, it was literally like 30 of us, and they all. And I went, "Is this like a real thing?" Because I had no idea what it was. Yeah. And I only found it because I was on Steam and they were posting on Steam and they had big, aggroed in the guys were big Steam people. So it made sense to look into what they were doing. So
was that at the time, like, was this the own the cards before the game time, or like, because like there are people that talk about that, like that they had the assets before there was something to do with the assets.
Yeah, I do remember getting them and not being able to do anything with it, but I didn't buy any because people would just give them to you to be like, here, have some. And like somebody like literally like my first flesh golems were just given to me, and my first like a whole bunch of cards were just because it's common cards. They were just tossing them at me.
This is literally the same of like back in the day there was a Bitcoin faucet.
Yeah,
that would just
when I think about my crypto journey, I'm like, man, if I would have had money back then when I first got in, I probably would be much richer than I am. But back then I was pretty poor, so I was more getting like I remember I got into Steam because somebody told me they were going on vacations and blogging about it and earning hundreds of dollars. I'm like, well, that seems kind of cool, and then that led me to Splinterlands eventually. Since then, I've played tried to find another Splinterlands, but I haven't. I played all the Hive games, so I have like a Rising Star thing. I haven't actually looked at it, but I have a pretty big D City that I've been ignoring.
So, Jim, what about you? How did you get? Was Splinterlands your first NFT game, or?
It was technically my second. I started playing this game, Lost Relics, which is pretty much like a Diablo clone.
I played Lost Relics.
Yeah,
I tried to. But they won't let me.
Yeah, I tried it. I wasn't a really big fan on how they set it up. It was like, oh, you can only do the first dungeon with common garbage items. It's like, no, but I want to get better items and then super farm the lower level content until I'm ready to progress. And they're like, no, yeah, we can't have you do that. I'm like, all right, well, screw this game. I played it for like 3 days, and that was my first NFT game. And then I actually skipped over Splinterlands to play Lost Relic because I didn't like the name of Splinterlands.
Yeah. Well, it could be worse. I didn't play Axie, even though I would have been way early on that, because I was like, I don't like those cute little things.
I mean, I found Splinterlands in May, so I could have actually bought some Untamed and Dice when it was reasonable. And I viewed the website, and I was like, this isn't for me. I didn't come back till August, and now, of course,
no, it's absolutely hilarious because Steve hit it on the head when he said that. Like, I also passed over Splinterlands for Skyweaver. I was specifically doing a search on trading card blockchain games, and Gods Unchained was on there. I also overlooked that one, but like I looked at Skyweaver first because it was in beta and it was aesthetically appealing. And I also went to the website for Splinterlands, saw the $50,000 Julian that didn't have any stats and was like 2 cost, and I was just like, well, these guys are idiots because that's not a real card. Like, why is that one expensive? Like, I know nothing about the game, but that one has no business being that expensive.
The funnest thing to do for me is to beat an all-gold Julius deck or an all-gold Arturius deck. Because they're the funnest things to beat, because I'm like, I just played a deck that was worth
like 1% of what they just played.
And they lost.
Yeah, legit. I saw that and I was like, man. But then it's actually funny because when I got here, then I actually remember I played a game back in the day that had its own ecosystem. It was a trading card game called Urban Rivals. And it was a web-based browser game that like you could buy the in-game assets, but then like it was only in-game, but it had a very robust like in-game economy and everything. And so once I started playing this, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of that a little bit. And that was really addictive. So like it was able to get me to stick around for a while, to learn more, then to like really fall in love with the team, fall in love with the people. Like that's the other really important part. Get to know the team, get to know the people in the community, because literally like Force of Will, the game that I came from, is held together by the community. A very tight-knit, loving community, very small. So like I feel at home here. You know, it's like we're just chilling, hanging out, playing games, knowing each other. I love it.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for a while, so I want to get you guys' final takes here. Bullish, bearish, and again, not bearish in the sense of like everything's going to zero, but just, you know, maybe things are in a lull for quite some time. I guess how long? It sounds like most of us are like short-term, like lull, but how long are you guys feeling that? Is this, oh man, like we're gonna see this lull for another, you know, winter of 2 to 3 years? Is this like, you know, just a couple months? Rogue, I'll go to you first.
Oh man, I'd say it's gonna be at least a couple more months. When we like I said in the very beginning, the fact that DEC is this low with this much of the airdrop left, I don't see that it's not going to. So then I think we've got till the end of airdrop where we're gonna really stay stagnant, if not drop. That's the way I'm like preparing for it. And then after that, we'll see. Like I got a feeling SPS can really only go up after the airdrop. Like that's in my head, that's like after that date when they stop giving it away every day, I got a feeling it's going to go up, you know, and especially if the validator stuff is after the airdrop, right? If any of that like payment stuff, Rift Watchers after, then like these are going to be straight like decrease in supply, increase in demand. And so that's kind of where I see it. I just see it's going to be very chill till after the airdrop. And then after that, though, it's like, but I mean, we're going to have little bits of excitement here. Like I said, this promo, I'm hoping because like I'm making all my extra money is going to vouchers. That's 100%. I'm buying vouchers at $1 and I'm making a nice little stack because I'm very confident that there's going to be at least a nudge in it. I don't care how big the nudge is, but anything's going to be like a nice gain there. Plus, I want the promo, as long as it's not a maxed out legendary summoner that I can't afford.
All right, good takes, Jim.
Bullish.
Yeah, I'd say I'm bullish as well. I still think that the validator nodes is going to cause SPS to rise up in price as well. And at the end of the airdrop, Matt has stated that that's when they're looking to put more utility into SPS as well. So,
All right, Steve.
A super short term lull. If the ranked rewards do launch next month, that's when I'm going to switch into like a bullish filling, because I feel like that's going to change the game quite a bit. And in general, I would say the validators I'm not as bullish on until I know more, just because I think they're going to price out most people. And a lot of people, and they're not, it's going to be, they say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So I bought land immediately. Still waiting for that. So am I going to buy a validator license immediately and wait on that functionality to come into the game? I don't know. They might get me again. And I'm not saying
Get me.
The roping you in, Steve.
but
He's like on
price.
live. He's on live being like, this is my resolve, but it might not exist.
Well, I gotta see, because like literally, when they say in the anime that literally, like, in the beginning, you might take it in the pants if you buy one of these. You're like, wait, what? What are you guys saying?
I mean, it's kind of funny though. Like even to this point, like nobody's really taking it in the pants, right? Like you're still what above
no, if you
anyone who got in the bubble,
if you came in near the top of that bubble and were buying DEC.
August to November.
No, I'm talking about the people that bought land. Like,
yeah.
Oh
on
no,
sale.
for 15 a plot.
Yeah. I think they're
we're
still
fine.
positive.
We're fine.
Cool,
But
just checking.
the thing
You're
is,
impatient.
just remember the pitch of land. We're going to sell land, and we're going to make spell cards. And for the first time ever, the game's going to be different. You're going to have equipment cards, and when that deck comes onto the board that can dominate you, and you want to give up, you're going to be able to play a spell and counter that. It's going to be amazing, guys. This is coming. Buy land now. We did that, and we don't have any of that yet. And it's still coming, and it's still going to be amazing. But it's a real different part of the game, right? Because like when we play this now, we all have this frustration, right? You hit play, you see what's on the other side, and you just hit skip because you're like, well, that ain't gonna work. My idea is just complete counter. I don't even need to watch this. So move on to the next match. That's not going to happen once spell cards and equipment are in play, right? You're going to see that. You're going to go, aha, they got me, but let me play this and switch it. Now maybe I can win. Mm-hmm. So we need that part of the game, I think, for it to become a little more addictive to the type of players who like a little bit more interaction to their game when it comes to a game like this. A little bit of an ability to come back. Because I think that's one of the fun things about playing a game in general is if you're about to lose and you pull it off. Like in Splinterlands, even like I bet you all of us have had that skip and seen a win and been like, "Wait,
oh yeah,
what the hell just happened?
Wait, what?
How in the hell did that happen?" Like, whoa, I got 8 dodges in a row.
Yeah.
But, Steve, I just never skip because I always have a chance to win.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I would say the overall plan of the roadmap and Matt's speech made me more bullish than I've ever been before. So I'm not going to say that I'm not bullish for the project, but I don't know how long before we're going to turn around. And I've been saying for the longest time DEC was going back to PEG. I haven't changed my mind on that. I got yelled at a couple times and no, it won't. And I can never get that low, guys. It's SLP, you know? They can pump it for so long, and then it's
literally only got the price because of the airdrop. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. When the airdrop's gone, what's happening to it?
In the town hall, they literally say, hopefully this goes back to a more healthy pay. It's like the team is rooting it down.
Whenever people ask, "What are you guys doing for SPS?" and they always said, "No. What? We're supposed to protect that?"
Yeah. What are you doing for SPS? Oh, we're gonna crash DEC. You're welcome.
But I mean, what are you going to do for DEC? It's like, they just dodge that question. They don't want to protect it, and it's because
it's programmed that way.
It's programmed. It's supposed to be $1 so that it's cheap. Like no one wants to level up a guild right now because it's too damn expensive. Nobody wants to do anything that involves using DEC because it's too damn expensive. One of their potions got broken because DEC was worth too much money, and so in general,
that's
it's
another
just
thing
like,
I missed. Man, I love that potion. The quest potion.
No. What you missed was when legendary and gold cards worked on rewards cards. That's what you missed.
Oh wow!
Because they used to work on rewards cards, so you didn't ever have like a stack of them on your account. They were always gone, and you were always buying them with your discounted DEC because it had the same. It had the same trick where you could buy DEC at 70 cents on the dollar and buy potions with it being worth $1. So you just always had a ton of potions, and flipping over rewards cards and opening those chests was like, ooh, when am I going to get another gold legendary? It's going to come because you had those. Wow. You had those potions.
Jeez.
I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna go look at the reward cards and see where we're at now with our gold to common distribution and go see what it was back then.
When they took that away, I was like, oh, but that was probably, I think, the most bummer thing that they did to us, because you used to pull. Basically, they said, you guys are getting too many legendary cards, so we need to take this away from you because they were going out too quick. Because everybody just turned that on. It was ridiculous to not have it on, especially because the old legendary rewards cards were amazing. A few of them, they're still amazing. Lord Arianithus is still one of the most powerful cards in the game.
Steve, you're making us way too jealous here. You're hurting us.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been making videos for a long time. You guys could have been watching them.
Well, wait, you guys have. Oh, go ahead, Rogue.
Whose coattail am I supposed to be hanging on to? Am I Steve or Luke, or I don't know? Who am I hanging on to here?
Definitely Steve.
Make me famous. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm in the same boat as you guys. Mostly kind of that lull bearish for now. I think the only thing that could turn that around, I think Sugar Mom was saying large guilds coming in, but I don't know if there's enough movement, enough demand. Maybe if they can make those connections and that happens. I think too, also the SPS play to earn after the airdrop is over, after you, like you said, Rogue. Depending on how much you actually earn in SPS, I don't know obviously what those factors are going to be like. It's probably going to depend on how much SPS you already have staked. But if there's enough motivation where, you're ranked play and all that, you're earning that SPS and it feels more valuable because you're stacking that and DEC at the same time, then we might see more of that back to, okay, ranked play actually feels worth it again. But until that happens, I think it's mostly going to be players like us who are already trying to be competitive in tournaments and things like that. Maybe we draw in some new players who want that aspect of the game. But I think for a long time, especially until that land comes out, SPS play to earn, I don't think we're going to see a lot of those casual player growths. Which, again, as I said earlier, a bummer in one sense, but also for me, I'm like, well, this is my time to shine. I want to be, Steve here playing 3 years ago, getting, I don't know, what was it, half a cent cards, feeling like it was worth nothing probably at the time for a really long time, right? And now you're sitting on the other side of that.
I've been running 3 accounts and selling no cards for a long time.
Right. So. But I mean, how many years did you play and you're like, well, I'm making a half a cent a day or something ridiculous where it doesn't feel meaningful at all?
I never had that.
Yeah, because you were playing the game.
But no, it wasn't just that. I'd never got money from a game, right? My whole life, I put money into Magic. I put money into Versus. I put money into those other things. The only counter I could say would be poker, but that was gambling. It's completely different.
Oh, it's not gambling. That's a skill game.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a win to earn game.
I know, but
the original win to earn.
But it took a long. Eventually, I got to the point where I could place in versus tournaments. I would make top 8s, and I'd get my money back, and I'd make a little from that. But it didn't usually outpace how much I was expending on cards because I was buying an extreme amount of cards to be able to have those decks. So to play Splinterlands and be like, wait, so I earn money, I earn free cards, I get to blog about it, and it gave me something to blog about where I earn more money. I was like, this is ridiculously cool comparatively. And you have to remember, while Splinterlands cards weren't worth much, Steam was worth $3 a coin when I joined. And Splinterlands had a vote that gave you like $150, or something. To in like a small vote, like right now their small vote gives you like $10 or something, $8 to $10 on your post. They had a nowhere.
I just got a $70 vote.
Yeah,
not to brag, but I was like, what? Like that's the highest I've seen by far.
So they don't know I give away stuff, Luke. They didn't watch your early streams, huh?
I don't know. Go to Steve's Telegram. You want to talk about giveaways?
By the way, somebody said he wasn't a landowner here yet, right? You want a land?
No,
I'll give you one if you want one.
No way.
Yeah,
Jim, you don't have land?
I don't have one.
I'll give you both a land, but I need account names.
Oh my god!
No.
I just want to be clear on this. All right, just because you throw me a land doesn't mean I ain't pissed.
He's still gonna put. Bro.
Yeah.
Jim, I don't know if you want to still fight Steve after that, my dude.
Dude, I don't know if I can accept that.
I'll be like, come fight me on that land. How about that?
I've got a couple left that I got for free from staking. So those ones I pretty much always meant to just give away.
Did you just say
time out? What?
Yeah, there was. Do you want me to keep telling you about the stuff you missed? Because originally, when they needed people to put money into the Uniswap DEC pool, since it was such a pain in the ass and so expensive, if you staked over there, you got free land when they put land out. So I got 25 of them for free. I have, I think 6 of them left or 4 of them left. I did give away a lot early on, like just to random people and posts and stuff. And I gave one to Luke, and I sold a couple when they were worth went up to like $800 or $900. So I sold like 3 of them because I was.
I mean, you have a lot of people in the chat saying if Rogue doesn't take it, he'll take it.
All right, I just want to say this.
That one.
I just want to say this, guys. The beef has been squashed. All right, like what he said in the past, that was like. It seemed like a month ago, honestly. It's so far.
So he's allowed to call you a hoe as long as he pays you for it?
Yeah, did you like that?
That was rogue, okay?
I did. Dude, I seriously, last podcast when I was listening to that, as soon as he said that, I paused and busted up laughing. I was like, this man just low-key called Jim a whore.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Jim, it's mostly jealousy. Okay, Dwayne's never asked me to be on his show. And then every time I go over there, all of a sudden your voice appears and I'm just like, what? He's there again?
Don't worry, because as soon as I leave here, I'm going right over to Dwayne. He's streaming right now for members only.
He's got a guild over there. He's got everything now.
Okay, this is devolving very quickly, and we are really long here. So I do want to say,
I'll send you my IGN after this.
Yes, we are all really long here.
Oh man. Okay. This is honestly probably I dare I say it, the best episode we've had so far, but I think it needs to end because it's like 2 hours long right now. So let's sign off. Shout out whatever you want to shout out. Steve, go ahead and go first.
Hey guys, so I'm SteveR82. You can find me both on Hive, where I do give away cards every week, and I do also run a YouTube channel where you can find me, and I do giveaways there for 1,000 DEC every week, and I also give away for other NFT projects. I'm actually planning an interesting one for ZenSports pretty soon because I got 2 of their NFTs because I won one on one of their streams, so why not give that away soon? So yes, I will give things away. I've gotten popular enough to where you don't have a for sure chance of winning, but I do feel like if you make it in these kind of things, you should give back to people. So thanks for having me again, Luke.
Yeah. All right, Jim, go ahead.
Guys, I'm Jim Morgan, H&H. Hobbies and happiness is my main squeeze, I guess you could say. It's a YouTube channel all about tabletop gaming, which I can't wait until that board game, those plushies as well. Whatever minis they come out with, I'm ready. Talk to me, aggro. Call me Nate, whoever.
Land 2025, but plushies next month. Let's go. All right, and last but not least, Rogue, go ahead and shout out what you want to.
Yeah, so that's SteveR82. He has a YouTube channel and a PC, and he gives away a lot of stuff. So make sure you go follow him.
Go
and
follow
give
Steve.
him lots of love, because damn. Just working this land off.
Okay, is that it? Okay,
yeah, no,
cool.
seriously. Yeah, go follow him.
All right,
See you guys
sounds
around.
good. Well, everyone, thanks so much for watching. This was an amazing podcast. And again, if you're listening on a podcast platform, go ahead and give it a good old thumbs up or whatever, 5-star rating. I don't know, or if 2-star, whatever you want. I don't care. But thank you guys for being here. Much love. Steve, Rogue, Jim, thank you for being here as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.